Hello my friends and welcome back to a new video. I cannot believe that today is a book haul video, but yes it is. I vaguely remember setting my own attention for the year 2023 that I would not buy any new books until I read all the old ones on my TBR. But let's face it, let's be honest, that was never gonna work. I just love book buying, book shopping too much. So that was a big fail because there are quite a lot here. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books. We have 9 books. Yeah. Anyways, let's start. I'll show you what I got here and I hope you enjoy. Alright, so the first 2 books I want to show are 2 thrillers. The first one is The Push by Ashley Audrain, and it is a thriller about motherhood. We have our main character Blythe Connor, who is determined to be a good mother because that's something that she never experienced and she wants to do well. When she has her child, however, she feels like something is wrong, something is off, it doesn't feel right, and she tells her husband about all these worries and suspicions and he just puts her off like, no, what are you talking about? Everything's fine. And so that makes her feel like maybe she's going crazy. Surely everything is fine. Why do I feel like everything's wrong? Something must be wrong with me. So that's her experience, and despite everything, she becomes pregnant again. She has a second child, and this time around, everything seems to be fine. So it says here that something happens that changes their lives in an instant, and there are devastating fallouts, and Beth has to face the truth that maybe she has felt like she knows all along, but has not faced really because she was told by others that it's not true. We don't know. To be honest, the back here is very vague, and the reason why I bought it is because of this sentence that says, "The Push is an utterly immersive novel that will challenge everything you think you know about motherhood, what we owe our children, and what it feels like when women are not believed." So that's what sold me on it, and I've seen good reviews about it, so excited for this thriller. The next thriller is Sharp Objects by my beloved Gillian Flynn, writer of Gone Girl, a novel that I just loved. And it's surprising actually that it took me this long to finally pick up Sharp Objects. To be honest, I'm very surprised. It's very thin. It has only about 250 pages. So this will be a thriller that I'm going to fly through. Our main character in the story is Camille Preaker, who is a reporter, and she just got out of a psych ward. She had some mental issues, but she's feeling all better. And now she is picking up an assignment that leads her to her hometown, where 2 preteen girls were murdered. And so she is investigating that crime. She's also facing the demons of her past, of her hometown. She has to move back into her old home where her mother lives, who is a hypochondriac and a little crazy. And yet during her investigation, Camille, becomes a little too close with the case. She identifies too strongly with these 2 murder victims. And in the end, it sounds like she might be also becoming a target, and it's a question of will she survive this homecoming of hers. So yeah, I have high expectations because I just love Gone Girl, and if Gillian Flynn is doing what she did in Gone Girl in this novel, I can tell you that this is going to be a great one. I can't wait to read it. Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune is the next novel that's new on my shelf. TJ Klune is the author of The House in the Cerulean Sea, a novel that was one of my favorites in the last year. And so I had to get this one. TJ Klune, in my opinion, writes very unique stories, and this one too sounds extremely unique. We have a main character, Wallace, who is dead. He just died, and he is returning to Earth as a ghost. And he's not really ready to say goodbye to his old life yet. He doesn't want to take the step into the afterworld, and he's given 7 days to basically get ready to cross. And so he wants to use these 7 days to live a lifetime in a way as a ghost. So very interesting story. It deals a lot with death, obviously, and accepting death and what comes afterwards. It's about life, meaning of life, discovering what life is about. So I'm sure there will be a lot of interesting concepts in this book, and it will be a very moving read. I know that TJ Klune, I've read this, he wrote this book to deal essentially with the death of his husband who died from cancer. So I'm sure it has a very personal note. TJ Klune probably has a lot of his personal experiences with death and grief in this book. And yeah, I cannot wait to read it. I'm sure it's not going to be easy, but something that's necessary, something that's part of life. So excited for this one too. I apologize if I say I'm excited after every book, but that's just what I am for all these new books in my shelf. The next one we have here is a real classic. It is Robinson Crusoe by Defoe. Most of you probably know the story. We have our main character, Robinson Crusoe, who is on his way to Africa to buy slaves for his farm plantation in South America. But on his way on the ship crashes and he's the sole survivor. He ends up stranded on an island, and so the book is about survival, about being alone on this island and having to survive. I have never read the story, and so every now and then I like to read some classics to close my knowledge gap, because classic is not something that I have read too much in the past. So next one will be Robinson Crusoe, and I'm happy to add to my penguin cloth bound collection. So I love these designs and the feel of these books. Also, they usually have some background information, some historic information about the authors and about the time that this book was written, and I enjoy reading that part too. So, something for my education. Next up, we have 3 books by Kristen Hannah. You could say I went a little overboard. I read her book, The Great Alone, in January, and my goodness, I fell in love with the author and her book. It is probably my all-time favorite book at the moment, my favorite book of all times. And so I thought, I have to read more by this author. I have to read more stories like this one. And hence I'm sitting here now with 3 of these books. The first one is The Four Winds, which is her most recent novel, the one that was most recently published. In this book, we are in Texas, in the Midwest, during the Great Depression, when there was also a drought making life difficult for the farmers and people that lived in the area. So it's a story about economic and environmental devastation and how to survive in times like that. So, and usually her stories are always about strong women that lived during these times. So that's that one. This one, The Nightingale, is probably one of her most famous ones. It's about World War II, and we follow 2 sisters during the World War in France, while France was occupied by Nazi Germany, and we follow their stories, their survival stories. They have made a movie about it, so once I finish this, I will watch the movie too and see how the adaptation was. The last one by Kristen Hannah is Firefly Lane, also very popular by her, also made into a movie or a Netflix show, so maybe you've seen that one. It is also about 2 women and their friendship over time. It's set in the 70s and 80s, and yeah, I just love reading women's fiction, so like everyday stories that were never told in the past in difficult times, and so just like The Great Alone, I am expecting a lot. We'll see how I like it. Maybe at some point I'll make a Kristen Hannah special video when I've read everything and I'll rank the books, but for now I have a lot to look forward to. And see, this is the great thing sometimes about discovering an author that is already well established, because I have now so many books to discover. I cannot be more excited. Excited, here we have the word again, my apologies. All right, so we have 3 books left here. One is a mystery, the other is a thriller, and then we have a very popular novel that if you're watching BookTube, you probably have seen a bunch of times already. But let's start with the mystery. And it is another Agatha Christie novel, this time The Murder at the Vicarage, and this time it's a Miss Marple mystery. I have only read Miss Marple mysteries as short stories in a short story collection. I've never read an entire novel that was dedicated to her. In the past, I've only read the Hercule Poirot ones. So I'm very interested to see how she stacks up against Hercule Poirot. But she's so iconic. She was very iconic in her little short stories that I have no doubt that it will be just as good as Hercule Poirot. In this story, Miss Marple is solving the murder of Colonel Prothero, who is a man that was not very popular during his lifetime. He lived in a small village in the British countryside and everybody there hated him. And yeah, one day he turns up dead in no other place than the Vicar's office. So basically the priest's office. And so Miss Marple is going there and is solving the crime, and I have no doubts that she will solve it, and I will give my best to try to guess who committed this murder. That to me is always the most fun of these mysteries, and we'll see if I can guess who it was. Next up is The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor. It's another thriller, and in this thriller we are in a village that has been through a lot, that has a very dark past. For example, 500 years ago in this village, a bunch of local Protestants were betrayed and burned. 30 years ago, teenage girls went missing. They just disappeared. And just a couple of weeks ago, the local priest hanged himself. So yeah, a lot going on there, a lot of dark history. And just like our main character, Reverend Jack Brooks, he's coming to this place looking for a fresh start because something also has happened in his past and he just wants to start all over. But he didn't think about the place he was moving to, because when he gets there he's greeted by a package that contains an exorcism kit and a note that says, "But there's nothing covered up that will not be revealed, and hidden that will not be known." So Jack now has to deal with the situation, has to live in this place that seems cursed, that seems haunted, where people have secrets, where something dark seems to be going on. And I love the idea of a whole village feeling like a dark place and like there's some mystery going around there. And I can't wait to hear what it is that makes this village have such a dark soul in a way. It almost sounds like a horror story to me, but we'll see what happened. I'm sure there is some logical explanation for everything. But can't wait to find out what it is. All right, as I said, the next one is a very popular one that you have probably seen in a bunch of places. And I'm talking about Babel by R.F. Kuang. The story is set in 1828, and we follow our main character, Robin Swift, who is an Asian boy, a Chinese boy, who is an orphan and is taken to Britain by a strange professor. And there he starts learning languages, he starts training and becomes an expert in the field of languages, with the goal of finally being able to attend the Oxford, the Oxford University's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, also known as Babel. So he succeeds eventually. He is in this program at the Oxford University, and he loves languages, but he also realizes that what they're doing is essentially helping the British Empire expand. It is supporting colonialism, which is maybe not the brightest spot in the British history, but our main character realizes this, and obviously he has Chinese heritage, so he feels like he's also betraying his own motherland. And at the university, we have other subgroups who, for example, are against colonialism. So he's kind of finding his way. What is he going to do? What is he going to support? Which cause? That's how I would describe the book. What can I say? It's a very popular one. So for me, it went on my must-reads list once I saw all these great reviews come in. So we'll see when I get to it, because it is a heavy one. I have to mentally prepare for this book. We'll see when I get round to it, but you will hear about it as soon as I do. All right, guys, those were all the books I had for you for today. I will now turn off the camera and start sorting them into my bookshelf, which I always love doing. It's very satisfying to me to put everything into place and yeah, give these books a new home. So I'll do that next. And yeah, for you, I wish you a great rest of the day and all the best. Stay safe, stay healthy, and till next time. Bye bye.